Good evening. Welcome to the June 8th, 2026 Select Board meeting. All members are present. Would you please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
By Mr. De Palma, seconded by Mr. Girwa. Any discussion on the warrants? All those in favor? And it's unanimous. I was lifting my time. Okay, we have one set of minutes. May 26, 2026. Okay, I'm looking for a motion to accept.
So moved. Second.
By Mr. West, seconded by Mr. De Palma. Any corrections to the minutes?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor? And that's unanimous. Okay, we have, it is now 7 o'clock, or a little after 7 o'clock, and we have a few appointments. And they are public hearings. So I'm going to, the first is with, the first two are with Gabrielle Elbaisiu. I don't know if not great with names. Okay, so we're looking for a motion to open up for a public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
By Mr. De Palma, seconded by Ms. Maselli. Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, we're going to open the public hearing. The first one we're going to take up is the poles on Salem Street. There are 4 poles on Salem Street. It looks like they need to be relocated. If you could just state your name for the record.
Yes, good evening. Name is Alexander, last name Marrero, M-A-R-R-E-R-O. Resident of 17 Cross Street, Marlborough, Massachusetts. Employer Pike, P-I-K-E, Telecom and Renewables, LLC. Authorized contractor for Verizon New England Incorporated. I've been asked by Verizon to represent them in front of you this evening to answer any questions that you or members of the public might have about the petition. Verizon New England Incorporated is hereby petitioning the town of Wilmington to relocate 4 poles located on a public way known as Salem Street.
Yeah, I can't understand him either, and I'm right in front of him. You're not the gentleman who's listed on this sheet, right?
Yes,
Correct. I am representing the gentleman,
And what's your name again?
Alexander.
Alexander, okay.
Verizon is petitioning to relocate 4 poles located on Salem Street, numbers 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A. Verizon is hereby making this petition on behalf of MassDOT due to a enlargement of Salem Street as proposed by their planned named Salem Street Route 62 General Plans.
Okay. All right, that's it?
Yes.
In a nutshell, huh? Okay. Yes.
Mr. Chair, so we do have a recommendation from Paul Looney, town engineer. This is, these 4 poles are located on the southerly side of Salem Street and east of the Woburn intersection. They're part of the traffic mitigation proposed for the Amazon facility that is at 800 Salem Street. So that's what this is part of that intersection improvement project, which would include roadway widening along that corridor of Salem Street. That's why the poles have to move.
Okay, I'm going to turn to the board members, and I see Mr. De Palma has a...
Question I have every time, are these poles already in the ground?
No, we haven't done any relocation yet.
Okay, and the poles they are replacing, those will be removed at the same time, or?
No, the new poles will be placed, and then once all the utilities are off the old poles, and at that point, the old poles will be removed.
And how long about does that take?
It will depend on each of the utilities on the pole.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. West?
Yeah, one question, now I see that the poles are being moved further towards property. Who owns the land that the pole's gonna be moved to? Is that public property or is that
That is a
private
part of the
property?
public way, yes.
Okay, so it's all public property, okay.
Yeah, the poles will remain on public way. They're just moving towards the property lines of each of the about abutters with that street.
Okay.
If you look at the plan, that dotted line,
Yeah.
the pavement edge is the hard line, and then the dotted line is the right-of-way edge. So they're
Yeah,
moving in the right-of-way further away from the
Yeah, I
pavement.
was thinking that, but I was also thinking, is that being a land taking to do any of that for the road improvements?
No, there's not.
So that drawing represents the curb as it is today. It does not represent the curb as it would be once the project is completed.
Right, because it sounds like the road's gonna be widened by a foot or two to,
Yeah, and then
where the poles
it's gonna
are.
go where widen where the poles are currently standing, which is why they need to be.
okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, do you know what utilities are currently being used on those poles? Verizon
So the first is the electric company.
is what?
The electric company.
Okay,
My understanding is your municipal company is the one that owns the electric one around this area?
Reading Municipal.
Reading,
Light.
Yeah.
it's Reading.
Yeah,
Then the next one would be if you have a fire alarm, then it would be the town. Then the next one would be cable TV, and then Verizon would be the last one off the poles.
and what's cable TV?
Like Comcast.
Okay.
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
I
I
know,
apologize.
I want him to
I
answer that
apologize.
question.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know who your cable provider is in this area.
Okay, so it's Comcast.
Yeah.
And they're not really quick with their work. So we're still waiting for Comcast since last September
Yeah.
to do their work on School Street, Middlesex Ave, to remove double poles.
Okay.
So I don't know, would that delay your project if they don't move? Because in the order for which you just mentioned, you're the last one to move it.
Correct,
Comcast is the second to last.
correct.
And we've been waiting 6 months for them to do their work on School Street and Middlesex Ave.
Okay. In this particular instance, this is a MassDOT project, so if Comcast is not moved, then MassDOT can actually force them legally to move from the old poles to the new poles.
Interesting. How come you're the only one in here and Reading Municipal Light's not here, Comcast is not here?
Because we are the responsible party for maintaining the pole, so we are the ones that have to do anything maintenance-wise with the pole. Well, in this case, because we're relocating the poles, and Verizon is the one that has to make the petition.
Okay, so you're just doing the poles, so you're not from Verizon?
No.
No.
I am a contractor for Verizon.
Okay. Okay. And there's a double pole right now that exists right across the street from the Hardin Tavern. Who owns that pole?
What is the address?
Where's the Hardin Tavern?
430,
What is it?
430.
430?
It's on the map.
What is the full address? 430?
Salem Street,
Yeah,
Wellington.
Street.
It's on here.
because then this all needs to be shifted down a little, because there's one here, that's a double
down there.
pole.
Yeah,
So that's really not too accurate.
they're on the corner.
So I can pass along to figure out what's going on, but according to the MassDOT plans, if all the poles on the northern side of the street are not being, there's no work being completed under this project. So if it is a double wood,
It's on the same side as these poles here. I went down there today, because I was just curious. My curiosity got the best of me, because I'm a little,
It's across the street, right?
Well, if it is across 430, then it is one of the poles that is being relocated.
He's going across the street.
but geez, my eyes are so bad. 437 isn't across the street from the tavern.
Yeah, there's the tavern right there.
I know that, but 437's up here. So these all are not designed appropriately.
Okay, so,
So really,
let me,
there's the first pole, which is right opposite the tavern, is the double pole. And then you're talking about 4 other poles that need to go in.
okay, can I approach?
Can you approach? Sure.
Yes. This is a copy of the Mass Dot plans. In Salem Street, so this line represents the current curb, this line represents the new curb. This is first pole to be relocated, 1A. So the property you mentioned, 430, is actually on this side.
Mhm.
And then if you go to the next page, this will be the next property, 437. That's pole 2A, and a stub pole right across it. Pole 3, which is in front of 439, 43A, I mean. And then 4A, which is in front of 443.
Let's do it that way. So this pole is being moved?
That's the highway marker. Yeah, that's the pole over there. That's the highway marker, that's the drain, and then that's the pole that's being moved. And that is
Okay, there's another pole
1A.
over here somewhere, because this is the tavern, right?
I'm not showing any other poles.
There's a double pole right across from the tavern.
And the tavern is on this side of the street?
Yes, there's no poles over here.
Well, the only pole on that side of the street is 1A, which is the one that's relocating, unless there's one here at the curb.
I'm not a betting man, but I'll bet you there's a pole there. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chara, that's my property.
Yeah.
And there is 2 poles in front of there.
I thought so.
Because the car took out the pole, and they attached the pole to it.
I'm sorry, just for the record, would you mind
Oh, yeah,
standing
I'm
up and
sorry.
giving your name and
I'm
address?
sorry, thank you.
Sure, my name's William Dussablon, I live at 437 Salem Street. So the first pole is actually a double pole. It's hanging off the first pole. There was an accident probably about a year ago where a drunk driver took the pole out and they had to attach the pole.
Oh, so it's one of those double poles where it's not touching the ground, it's just still attached?
It's hanging off of it.
Okay.
Okay,
Be that first pole.
Correct.
okay.
Thank you, sir, for the clarification.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if it is the one that's being relocated, then in that case, the double wood would be removed once anybody's off that pole.
Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
is there any way we can verify any double poles, whether they're side by side or they're snap poles, and how long they've been sitting there without being fixed, and start forcing these companies to...
On that stretch of Salem Street, I actually drove down there today, and that's the only double pole I noted. Everything else is
And
single.
I think we should start looking at the town as a whole, because there are a number of double poles around town, whether they've been snapped in half because of an accident or whatever the case may be, or they're just putting a new pole in and the other one's sitting there. If it's the reason that all the utilities that are using the pole are not responding to their transfer of the lines to the new pole, then I believe we should start taking some course of action against these companies to start moving them forward.
Yeah, I agree. I almost think that what we should do is be taking dates of the project. Okay, so, you know, the town is gonna start on this date and be completed by this date, then the fire information's gonna be moved, and then Comcast is coming in on this date with a completion date, and then Verizon. And that way we won't have this problem with poles. You know, I've been here for 11 years, and we've been very lenient in allowing, at the very beginning, as Mr. Palmer always asked that question, I haven't asked my question yet, you know, has the pole already been put in? And in the past, the person in front of us would say, yeah, we already put the pole in, which was just, you know, crazy that they would do that. Now they're not doing that anymore. It's one of a standard question. So we probably should get an idea of when the project's beginning and when the project's going to be completed, because quite frankly, I'm tired of it, that this is happening all the time. Now, my question for you is, are the poles going to be moved into a sidewalk?
No.
No?
The new sidewalk will be right in front of the pole.
Okay, because I saw markings, and the markings were in the middle of the sidewalk. So now you're going to put a new sidewalk on the other side of the poles, which is defeating the purpose of widening the road, isn't it? Because I thought you were trying to take some of the road to widen it, but now you're telling me there's going to be a sidewalk there, right beside the road.
Yeah, so the existing sidewalk will be removed, and the existing poles will be removed, and then the curb will be moving approximately 8 feet back, and then a new sidewalk will be placed, and then the poles will be right behind that new sidewalk.
So you're taking 8 feet of land,
Public land, yes.
okay? Well, I can't envision it, but. Okay, anything else before I go to the public for comments? Questions, or anybody who's here in the audience? Please come up and state your name and address. I know you already have, but please do that again.
William Dusselbaum, 437 Salem Street. I questioned their property line, you know, when they first were measuring this. I assumed someone would come out and do a plot plan, or, you know, maybe do some type of, you know, measuring out where everything was. You know, they're saying they have a right-of-way. It's not written on my deed. I have had some taking back in 1956 of my land for this area, and it's, nothing else is written on my deed about this this right-of-way. And it seems like they're just moving the pole, and there's no, their surveyor hasn't been out, no markings have been done, and I'm just curious, you know, they're just gonna do it. I believe the 13 feet's fine. I'm more concerned about the 7-foot one. I have a discrepancy about the property line and what they're saying. They just have a right-of-way. My property does not go straight like that. If you see the current dark line, that's the current roadway. The dash line, they're calling that the right-of-way. I don't have that listed on my deed anywhere.
Yes.
So a couple of things. On your deed wouldn't show a different, for purposes of your deed, the paved area and unpaved area to the right-of-way are exactly the same. So it would just show, your deed shows to the edge of the right-of-way, not to the edge of the street. Well, just to follow up,
Yeah.
they did submit to our town engineer a survey plan. So a survey plan has been prepared. I believe that's a copy of it that the gentleman has right there that's been submitted to the town. The town engineers reviewed it, and it's accurate according to all the records that we have with respect to the width of the right-of-way and the location of the poles.
Okay, I've talked with Paul. It just looking at that, the way they have it there, it just doesn't match up. Maybe that's better suited.
I do say, and I know it's very frustrating, it does say not to scale at the bottom there, and that's because they were just trying to get all the 4 poles on a 8x11 sheet of paper. If you'd like, and you can provide your contact information, I can email you over a copy of the survey plan,
Okay.
if that would be helpful to you.
Is there a way you could get marked out on my property or the town's property?
We don't go out and do markings like that. I don't know if the surveyors went out and did official markings like that, I can certainly ask Paul if that's something they're gonna do as part of the project, and let you know if that's something that you should be looking for in the future.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, oh,
Hi, I'm Michelle Aker, his neighbor, 439 Salem Street. You mentioned the survey plan that was submitted to you folks. When was that date for that one?
I'm trying to see. So in Paul's memo, he doesn't have a date as to when he submitted the survey plan. So I know
Okay.
it was, as a part of the he wrote this memo to me on June 4th. Let's see if there's the emails.
I'm just echoing his concerns that there may be discrepancies between what we were told was going to happen, and I know you said this isn't to scale, but we were under the impression there wasn't going to be 7 feet, 8 feet movement. Like, this just sounds a little bit more, a larger scale than we were prepared for when we first spoke to Paul, and had he sent us surveys. So if we could get whatever you're looking at in our hands to make sure there's nothing different.
Yeah, I do think the 8 feet is at the corner of the curb, but not I don't believe they're putting 8 feet through the entire length of where these poles are going.
Okay.
But that, I will, if you can give Bev here your email addresses, I'll be glad to make sure that we can email that survey plan
Okay,
out to
because I am getting emails to walk my property with the other folks that are handling the expansion, and it seems like there's a few different hats in the ring here, and I want to make sure everyone's on the same page so that we're not.
Yeah, the utilities wouldn't generally, as part of their
I
plan,
get
wouldn't
that.
be marking the plan, but I wouldn't be surprised if the engineer for the actual construction went out and did that. It's something they do regularly. That's not Verizon's
Yep,
boat,
no.
they're just moving the poles. There is gonna be a general contractor hired by Mass DOT and an engineer hired by Mass DOT to actually do the reconstruction of the road. And those are the people who are probably contacting you.
Yeah, because I have to give them the right of access to my property.
right. And so, but again, if you give us your contact information, we can make sure that Paul sends out whatever information we have
Well,
about.
if it's Paul that we contact, then I have that, we're all set.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
yes.
Pen's down.
You can just grab it and pull it down towards you.
Hi, my name is Susan Frank. I live at 443 Salem Street, and I was told where that pole's going to go and is my property, because when I purchased my house, I had to have it surveyed, and I was told that is my property. And on that property, I recently put a septic tank, and they're going to put it almost on top of my septic tank. And when you plow that road, all the snow's going to be on top of my septic tank and on my property. It's going to be so hard for any of us to even get out of our streets. It's hard now, but I'm worried about my septic and all that snow and ice and salt that's going to be put on it. And they are putting it really close, and I have a photo of the septic if you'd like to see it.
The only
Would
thing
you
I can
like to see
suggest
it?
is, I don't think that would help right now, but the only thing I can suggest is this.
It's going to be, it might be on the leaching line pipe, where he's going, or right up against it.
The only thing I can suggest is that we do the same thing to you, is to provide your information. We can have the town engineer reach out to you with whatever plans that we
Well, are they
have.
going to move my septic if he's going to put it on it?
So this plan has the poles in the right-of-way, so that's public land. And I didn't look at
In
the,
my survey, I was told it's my property, and when they put in my septic, they checked all that. It's not on any town property. My septic's on my property, and where I was told the pole's going is so close to my septic, I don't want it there. I think it's a dangerous situation. I think it's going to collapse in the winter with the snow. And
maybe
it will block my vent pipe.
so again, the only thing I can suggest is we can provide you the information that's been provided to us about where the location of the poles are. I don't know where you were told the location of the poles are, but we have plans that have been submitted to us that show where they're going in the right of way.
But did they take a check at where my septic is? Did they look So what's gonna happen to my septic? I'd like to know who's gonna be responsible if it gets ruined.
Well, if a contractor does damage to your property, they're responsible for it. They all have to have insurance, and that, you know, that's part of any public project that happens is the contractors have insurance. Who told you that the pole's gonna be on your property?
An engineer that's been looking at this situation. I don't know his name. He said, well, he didn't call it my property. He just told me where it was gonna go, and that is my property.
Okay,
I was told that when I purchased the house,
okay, and
and it was surveyed.
I know that
40 years
a septic installer would not install a septic system on public property, so.
And I'm sure when the man made the plans and everything was approved by the town, that the septic was in the right spot.
Okay, so this is something that's a little bit more detailed than this. What I'm gonna suggest is that we make an appointment with you to talk to Shelley Newhouse and Paul Looney. Shelley is our health director, and Paul's the town engineer. And Shelley could pull up your septic permit and show where on the plan your septic is, and we can compare that to the plan that was submitted about the poles.
Okay.
My fear is that the person who was I just wanna look at the plans.
Yeah, because
I
there's a
think that's the
sidewalk,
most.
like you're saying it's gonna be moved, that's in between where those poles are. So they're gonna go right where the sidewalk is now? And so that means the sidewalk's gonna be put on my property.
No, it sounded to me as if you're moving everything 8 feet, right? And where the second poles are on the opposite side towards the street is where the new sidewalk is going?
So
So where the old poles are will be a new sidewalk, and then you'll have the new poles.
Correct, yeah.
But they're widening the street.
But
That's
you-
why they're doing this, correct?
But you're moving it in towards the residential area 8 feet.
And that's where people park if there's any kind of breakdown or emergency.
Well-
And that's where they're gonna put the road.
Is there anyone else? Okay, so I would suggest that just my suggestion, the board, I suggest that we continue this to our next meeting until we get some information from, that the residents are looking for.
Yep.
To them, and then we can take this up at our next meeting.
I
That would be my
100%.
suggestion.
I'll make a motion to continue this at our next meeting, so we can get more information on the residents and make sure it doesn't impede on anybody's property, et cetera.
And I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms. Maselli, seconded by Mr. De Palma to continue to our next board meeting. I think it's June 22nd.
Quick discussion, can we add to that, close the public hearing for 8?
You're gonna continue the public
No, we're
hearing.
gonna
It's gonna continue, okay, fine.
All right, all in favor? Yeah, opposed, well, no one's opposed. Right? We're unanimous, they keep doing it.
No, that's a good idea.
Okay, next is, where's my paper?
It's another poll.
All right, another poll. So we're gonna make a motion to open up a public hearing for poll movement, I guess, on Gowing. So is there a motion to open up a public hearing?
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Gerwa, second by Mr. West. All in favor? Unanimous? Okay, we have, you're up again.
Alexander Pike Telecom, Bryson Contractor. Bryson is petitioning to relocate one existing pole, number 8.5, located on Gowing Road, approximately 27 feet in a southern direction. This being requested due to a redevelopment of 16 Gowing Road.
Yes.
Nope, I just wanted to say we do have a recommendation from Paula Looney. This is to relocate a utility pole on Gowling Road. It's part of the roadway extension plan for 5 new houses that are being constructed at that end of Gowing. With the existing cul-de-sac being abandoned due to the extension, the relocation of this utility pole will put it in line with the existing poles on Gowing Road. Right now, it's set off because it's next to a cul-de-sac, but that cul-de-sac's going away.
Mr. Chair?
All right, yes, Mr. Palmer, questions?
Question I have, can we start requesting who owns the pole? Who owns those poles?
The pole is joint owned between Verizon and the electric company. So we own, the Verizon owns 50% and the electric company owns 50%.
Thank you.
That's a good question.
Are there any other questions? Are you planning to, once the development is underway, will there be more requests for poles in that area? Or is it all gonna be underground?
That will be up to the developer. If they put a riser at that pole, then we will not require any additional poles. If they go aerial to each of the individual homes, then the new poles will be required.
I took a ride down there too, just to take a look, and seems to be the right thing to do to move that pole, to continue the development. Okay, open to the public. Any questions, comments regarding this movement of the pole relocation and Gowing? Okay, seeing none, I'll take a motion to close the public hearing
So move.
by Mr. De Palma,
Second.
seconded by Ms. Maselli. All in favor? That's unanimous. Now we'll take a motion to accept the relocation of the pole on Gowing.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Giroux, seconded by Ms. Maselli. Any discussion, further discussion? All in favor? And it's unanimous. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
See you next meeting. All right. Next is a public hearing on rules and regulations for alcohol licenses. So I'm looking for a motion to open up a public hearing.
So moved.
By Mr. De Palma, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Maselli, to have a public hearing on the rules and regulations of alcohol licenses. All in favor? And it's unanimous. Okay,
Mr.
Yes.
Chair, could I suggest that we also take up board to consider number 6 at the same time? That's about adopting the alcohol license fee schedule.
okay, we can do that as well.
Thank you.
And you can explain that
Absolutely.
portion of it. Okay, so it was brought to my attention a while back that the increase in the club's license from $250 to $1,000 was a 300% increase and seemed a little excessive. So that's why I brought it back forward for a relook at it, I guess. And these are all of the various fees that are attached to each of the alcohol licenses. So I think $1,000 is,
Oh, no, I was just going to ask Bev if she could move it up to the fee schedule. Thanks. No, you're in the middle of something.
I think $1,000 seemed to be a little excessive, and so that's why I brought this back forward. I just want some feedback from the, yeah.
Yeah, so a little bit of background, when we were looking at this, what we were trying to do is kind of figure out where we were compared to the market at the time, because some of these hadn't been updated in 25 to 40 years at that point. And one thing we noticed during it is, although the restaurant licenses had been stepped up a little bit over time, this one was untouched since the 70s and was significantly below market. And even at $1,000, it's still below like 99% of the towns or 95% of the towns. What towns typically do, and I could name a bunch, whether it's Andover, North Reading, is they typically put it at half of the full. So it would be $1,250, and we actually talked about that. Joe's here from the Economic Development Committee. We just thought that was actually too much, but we thought that was actually probably fair. And so at least from the committee standpoint, and I'll say for mine personally, I don't think that's excessive. It was just 30-plus years overdue, or 50 years overdue type of a thing. And it's still, you know, they're going against a function hall, a private function hall. It's not a club, and that function hall is paying 2.5 times, right? They're paying $1,250 instead of $1,000. So just for competitive reasons, we thought we should at least get it up to 1,000. So that's kind of the background of the committee and where I still stand on it.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What is aside from this, what was I guess, the prior club rate for all alcohol?
$250.
$250.
And we're looking at the Knights of Columbus and
Shriners.
and the Shriners. And both of those are civic organizations that provide thousands of dollars of funding to not just the town, but the area and various things. I mean, I think if you want to go up, maybe to 500, but I don't think we should be anywhere near 1,000, because I think that the service they provide helps the community. And again, the for-profit organizations, a lot of those are generous with the town too, but they're also in it to make money to make money for for the entity, for the store or the business, as opposed to the club that's trying to be a charitable organization.
That's why it's discounted.
Right. No, and that's why I would bring it down. If you want to double it from the 250 to the 500, but to, quadruple it, I guess, to 1,000 in one fell swoop from 250 to 1,000 might be excessive in one bite.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
if I may. I agree with the 1,000. We haven't raised this in, as Mr. Gearworth said, whatever, it's been 30, 40 years, 50 years. So, I mean, I get it that we're catching up all at once, but it's already half the price or more than half the cost of what the function halls are, and we're still under what surrounding towns are. And, I just don't see the problem. We got to catch up, and if we were to do that, say for clubs, then we need to look at everybody and say, well, we shouldn't bring them up. We got to do it on a step process. I think we just got to do it, and, we got to catch up at this point. And I don't think I get that it's kind of like sticker shock, if you want to say that, because it's going from 250 to 1,000, but we're bringing it back up to still below market price, if you will. So I agree with it.
Yes.
I support it also. One of the issues I'm finding right now is that a lot of our fines, fees, we haven't increased that we should have. And this is just the beginning of what I believe we're going to have to look at and address over a very short period of time to bring the market for these fines or licenses up to market value. It's, you can sit there and say, wow, that's a big increase. And it is a big increase. But the bottom line is that we haven't increased for 50 years. And we haven't followed along with other towns. We've always sat back and gone, no, that's okay, let's not worry about it. Now, we have to address these more. I haven't heard that much feedback from it. The few people I've spoken to in the businesses have said, we're surprised it took you so long.
Mm-hmm.
So I would support staying like we are right now with the fees and slowly progress into other areas where we have to look and see what we have to do to bring the town up to current standards with our fees, fines, or whatever.
Okay, thank you. Now, this is the overall fee schedule, so I'm going to bring up two other issues.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. The other one is the package stores. I really believe the package stores should be 2,500. Right now, it's 2,250. My own personal feeling is that, and I looked at the list, and it seemed like a number of surrounding towns have their package stores at 2,500. I don't know why it was just recommended to go to 2,250, but I'm sure I'll get an explanation on that. But that's my feeling on the package stores. So, that anybody have any comments on that?
Yeah, no, I would agree, though. They're generally, when I look too, they're anywhere from 2,000 to even up to like 2,750, so somewhere in that range. So that's fair. I'll agree with that.
Like that?
Well, if I may, Mr. Chair, is that, we're looking at, what, 6 package store licenses, I think it is, right? So, 5. So, I mean, are we gaining any real money out of this, one way or the other, or whether we go up, to 2,500, 2,250, whatever it is? I mean, we're going up $1,000.
Well, it wasn't what it
Overall,
was
so-
before.
Yeah.
right? It was less than that. I think we just went up recently to
500.
2250 by 500. So we're gonna look at going up another 250.
Right, but I'm just thinking that at the end of the day, we're already going up 1,250 on the 5 licenses. Do we really need to go up the other 1,250? I mean, is that going to hurt the town or help the town in a measurable way? But also, we got to look out for the businesses too. So that's just my opinion.
I will say typically, and I thought this was weird, so I double checked, I actually talked to Eric about this, was that in general, the fees for the package stores are less than the restaurants in almost every town. And the only thing I could rationalize on it is because their margins are so much lower on their sales than like markups at restaurants and stuff. But it is very consistent that they are below, just for a reference point. Again, I'm with you, I'm fine leaving it, but if we want to increase, I'm fine with that too. But it's not going to break or break anything, so
Any
whatever you
other
guys want to
comments?
do, I'm fine with.
Any other comments?
Just,
Yeah.
what was it before it was 2,250?
1750.
1,750.
So it was below the normal restaurant before,
The
too.
range, yeah, it was below
Exactly. So we just kind of moved them both up.
What?
1750.
$1,750,
It went up 500.
and the restaurants were 2,000, went to 2,500.
And then the last one I wanted the board to look at was the one-day alcohol license for profit. Individuals for profit, not for nonprofit, but for profit. So that means that if someone comes before us, for an example, we have a Tavern on the Square is a for-profit business coming before us to run a beer and wine for 5 days at the July 4th event. So we're charging Tavern on the Square for 5 days on the 4th of July, $500. It's a for-profit organization that's doing it.
I
It's
think
not
it falls under the 4th of July's
Is that
status, right?
nonprofit or for-profit?
It's a for-profit because the applicant was Town Hall Square.
Okay, so
That's what
yeah,
that's what I was asking about too.
I was incorrect on
Fifth
that.
day is for the Fall Fest.
So if you have like the
I was incorrect about
library,
that,
the library that has an event and they get a nonprofit, theirs would be at $100. This is a for-profit group, so do we look at adjusting that for the future? Because this would all be for the future, I guess. Any feelings on that?
I don't mind looking at that for
No,
future.
we can look at that in the future, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess my thoughts would be, at least for the year we're in,
Yeah.
is go with what we've already approved previously when we did the
Yes,
alcohol
I
rules and
agree with that.
regulations. Get this as the separate document that I know Eric's looking at to separate it from the rules and regulations, but put it on the agenda when we're coming up at the end of the year before we start next year. We can relook at this, plus whatever else Gary finds or looks into on all the other fees and everything else.
I agree with that. Okay.
Look at it this fall, maybe,
Yeah.
if we're gonna make any changes. That'd be my suggestion.
To the public, any comments? Is there any more comments from the board first?
No.
Okay, public comments? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I won't ask what happens here. I hope a speedy recovery. And I have to say, wow, this is something really, really nice here in this room. The reason why I have no issue with the fees, whatever the
Just
pleasure.
for the record, Mike, we need Beverly to, Mike
Oh,
McCoy.
Yeah,
former
I
selectman.
apologize. I've been out of the game for a little while. But anyway, Michael McCoy, 11 Treasure Hill Road in Wilmington. And I just rise to ask for a request. I'll say I have no issue with the fees, whatever the pleasure of the board is, I support it. I know a little while back, and I'm not looking for hearts and flowers, unfortunately I had a few emergency surgeries and I wasn't aware that you opened up the hours of expanding the hours of serving alcohol. Obviously, I'm in a different venue now, I'm into doing the breakfast. And I just wanted to know at this meeting if there could be a future meeting, I know this is probably not a time to expand on that. What I'm looking for is, I owned and operated Michael's Place from 1984 to 2015, a 31-year track record of success. I had a liquor license from 1996 to 2015 until I surrendered it to the town, and that's when I sold the business. Without going down memory lane, the tenants destroyed it. Not once, but twice they tried to open up a sports bar. I came back 10 years later. I'm happy what I'm doing. And unfortunately, and Beverly, gave me the information. I appreciate Beverly, what she's done. She does a great job at it. And from what I understand, you did expand the hours. What I'm asking, is there a possibility, through you, Mr. Chairman, could you maybe have another agenda item to discuss that? And the reason why I bring that up is that the hours of breakfast, we're open 7 to 2. And I did have a pamphlet here, some, breakfast drinks. And, there's a good call for it. And obviously, I'm hoping that the board would consider of expanding it more, maybe during operating hours. Grandma might want a Bloody Mary, and Mama might want a mimosa. And that's what it really is. It's not going to turn it into a bucket of blood. What it is, it'd be more on the weekends when people want to order a cocktail, a breakfast cocktail, and it's a big difference. And if you take a look from 11 o'clock until on, when I had the restaurant, we served lunch and dinner when I owned Michael's Place. Well, there's only about, 95% of the restaurants open from 11 o'clock on, lunch and dinner service. There's less than 5% restaurants open in these days for breakfast. And we're doing really good down there, but there's a big, big cry for that. And I just thought I'd bring that up, Mr. Chairman. I'm just, whatever the wish of the board is, I'd like to come back maybe at a future meeting, if you could have an agenda item to talk about expansion of those hours. And it's breakfast, and it's a different atmosphere, and people aren't going to go out of their minds. And we do have a 100-seat restaurant. And I wanted to bring that up. And unfortunately, you did have that discussion. And like I said, I'm not looking for a pat on the back or anything like that. I've had a few emergency surgeries that, things are great. And I obviously missed that opportunity. I even said to Beverly, I never even realized that you'd done that, So I've been out of it for a little bit. And through you, Mr. Chairman, I'm hoping that maybe a future agenda item, whenever, as soon as you could, just to discuss it. That's all.
Mr. McCoy, that's a great suggestion. I wouldn't mind a mimosa now to take some of the pain away. But it's after 12 o'clock. Mr. Gilroy,
Hey, Mike, thanks. So we actually, on the Economic Development Committee, when we were coming up with this, we joke and add to this too if you want, but we talked about it, and there was just a lot of back and forth on this first big update, how, I guess you'd say, aggressive we wanted to get on the hours, right? And what the kind of feeling would be within the community. So we looked at it a little bit like a baby step, especially Sunday, moving it to 10, and I've seen brunches now starting at 10, not 11. So you're starting to see it come through and just kind of see how it goes. We were, at least on that committee, we were certainly open to making the hours even earlier. So we were thinking about it. I know you weren't around for that, but it was a lot of the discussion on it. But ultimately, we thought for this upgrade, that's where we settled. But I don't, now speaking personally, I was on the camp of started earlier, so I'd love to have it on the, have it come back up.
Yeah, I personally as well, I don't have a problem with that at all.
Yeah, I think
Well,
it's a
what
great
were you
suggestion.
suggesting for a start for that?
Well, I was thinking maybe, obviously operating hours, I know we open at 7 o'clock, and I don't think there's going to be a line of people coming in to drink at 7 o'clock in the morning. Whatever the pleasure of the board is, it's just that on Saturdays and Sundays, that's in the breakfast restaurant, that's when you are slammed.
Yeah.
We got 20 people waiting to get inside on Saturdays and Sundays. And like I said, we're not going to turn it into a bucket of blood. We have 100 seats. We have a 10-seat counter. I call it the counter. People might say, oh, it's a 10-seat bar. I call it the counter where you can sit down and get a nice meal. There's been a big request, and I would imagine not at 7 o'clock, who knows? I thought maybe during operating hours, only because it's unique. I wish I'd known that back then. I would have hopefully sat in on those meetings and maybe had a discussion. It's completely different than what I did back in 1984. And like I said, Grandma might want a Bloody Mary. Mama's going to want a mimosa, and I'll be honest, I don't drink. I know nothing about alcohol, to tell you the truth. And it's my wonderful, lovely wife here, Danielle, here with me this evening. But I really appreciate that that maybe a future agenda item is maybe as soon than later, and maybe to discuss this. And I know everything's a compromise, and I was just looking, hopefully, especially on Saturday and Sunday, that's when you're going to accommodate the families on the weekend. It's family orientated, and it's all families that come in the restaurant. We have a lot of seniors that come in there as well, and a lot of folks come in. We've been doing really well. Thank you.
Thank
Although
you.
Sunday is still a state law for how
Yeah.
early you can start, just so you guys, like,
What's-
Sunday, we can only do so much.
What is the
Understood.
start time?
It's at 10, right?
10.
Yeah, it's 10. That's when we moved it to, so we knew we were at the, like, as early as we could on Sunday, but Saturday, you can do what?
That would be
whatever.
the other thing. Saturday is, sometimes busier than, say, a Sunday, and, no, whatever the pleasure of the board is, I'd really wish you'd give it some thought, have an agenda item sooner than later, and maybe to discuss. I understand that you are the local licensing authority, and you have to do within the guidelines of the Commonwealth. I get that. And if it's 10 o'clock on Sunday, it's 10 o'clock on Sunday, but I think there's a little leeway Monday to Saturday, and if that's something we could look at, maybe bring it a little earlier than that would be quite helpful. And like I said, less than 5% of restaurants today, if you look at it. And I do plan on hopefully someday maybe expand the hours a little bit. But, yeah, I'm happy and content. I go home at nighttime. I don't have to worry about anything. That's it, But I'm there 7 days a week, and it's going good. And I really appreciate some thought, Mr. Chairman, if you could maybe have a future agenda item, and that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment from the public? Joe?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Maselli, 25 North Street. I'm going to jump around here for a couple. On the hours, kind of echoing Mr. Giawar and Mike here, we did take a more conservative approach with the hours, I think, but like I said in previous meetings, it's up to this board to set the rules and regulations. The Economic Development Committee merely makes a recommendation. So we're happy, we do meet next week as well, so we're happy to talk about it a little bit at our meeting, but like I've said in the past, it's up to the select board to administer these rules and regulations, and I'm definitely open to having that conversation and wouldn't mind coming in earlier for a drink as well. Another thing, actually one thing that the Economic Development Committee didn't look at, I'm just asking as a resident here, the package store fee, I've been following that conversation a little bit. Do we know the last time that was updated by any chance? Probably was a little while ago.
If Bev doesn't know, it was a long time ago.
I'm just curious, because
Probably 2,000.
with the last two, the farmer's market winery and the permit to pour, are those changing at all, or are those the same from how they are currently?
How they were voted on before that. I'm not
Prior.
suggesting a change on that.
Okay, and then same thing with
I don't know if
the
anybody else is.
same thing with the one-day nonprofit. Those are staying the same.
For this
Right.
one.
Okay. Okay, and then back to the Economic Development Committee, just to echo Mr. Giroir's points from earlier, just about the fee change and all the rules and regulations that we did look at for much of last year. I mean, Mr. Giroir and Ms. Sullivan, who I don't see here tonight, we spent several nights last year during the summer just going line by line, word for word through the old rules and regulations. So, I mean, my point being is we did not just pick these numbers out of a hat. We benchmarked over a dozen towns and really took the time to make sure that we were coming up to date and into competition with our neighboring towns. So just wanted to put that out there. And like I said, if we want to talk about the hours, I'm happy to bring that up at our econ meeting next week, and also would like to see that on the select board agenda as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, no other comments? Members? Okay, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Mr. Thomas, second by Mr. Gerwa, all in favor? Okay, is there an appetite to make any suggestions or changes to the liquor licenses? Yes?
Well, no, I wanted to have the one other thing that we were suggesting doing was taking the fees out of the rules and regulations entirely and creating a separate alcohol fee schedule adopted by the board, and that would enable the board to be a little bit more nimble if we need to change fees in the future. They could be done out of a full regulatory process. And what we would change where it says a fee in the regulations, we would just change it to see the select board alcohol license fee schedule. And that would, it would also have all the fees in one place, one page, make it easier to kind of find and post on the web, and easier to update if and when if something happens in the future and we want to make a change, so like in the fall, if we were to make a change and all we were talking about is fees, we could do it much more simply than the regulatory change. So that would be
Right.
a suggestion that I think Bev and I thought about would make a lot of sense.
And that's on the board to consider number 6, right?
Well, the adoption is the board to consider number 6. You'd actually have to change the regulations to change it wherever it says fee, just to say, see the select board fee schedule, if this is something that the board thinks makes sense.
So we're taking, adopting that would take it out of a public hearing situation.
Yeah, it'd still be a public process, because we would have to, we could still notify all of the license holders that it's happening, but we wouldn't be required to post notice in the public hearing, in the paper, and go through that process, just for a fee change.
So
Obviously, any substantive change to the regulations would still require a public hearing.
So should the motion actually be, if we don't have any changes, we'll get to that, but that we adopt this separate alcohol fee schedule and update all the rules and regulations accordingly?
Yeah, and amend the
Add
rules
that
and
in here?
regulations. To amend the rules and
Yeah.
regulations to
You
reference.
update them to reference this, yeah. Okay.
So I wanted to bring that up, because I think it's something, lots of towns do it that way, take things out of the regulations, so it makes it more simple to.
Mr. Bowman.
One thing I'd like to see if we're going to do that is that we implement a yearly review of licensing fees. Incorporated in
we
it,
can
this
do
way
that.
we don't
We
get
can-
behind again.
Yeah.
Like we are now.
Yeah, we can do that in the time period when we're updating everybody's licenses.
Yeah.
Same time frame. So, Mr. Manager, we're going to take this up, the board to consider first, is that your
Yeah,
suggestion?
I think, there would be to adopt an alcohol license fee schedule, and any changes we can make to this fee schedule, if somebody wants to make a change, and then have a separate motion to say, I'm motion to amend the regulations, so everywhere it references a specific fee, it refers to the fee schedule instead.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Mr. Chair, we had talked about, if we're talking about the fee schedule, the two fees that I'm thinking just in my mind is, I'm thinking if you went to do the package store to 2,000, it was $1,750. It's on this list as $2,250. Because the thing is that you got to remember, when you're saying a fee,
I don't want to do
You
it
want
to
to go
2,000.
up.
I wanted to go to 2,500.
okay, you want it to go
Increase it.
higher, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my apologies. At the end of the day, what this sheet is, it's a tax sheet. It's just another way, in my eyes, it's just another way of getting taxation. And, I mean, how much do we tax people? I mean, if it was me, I would do the package store at 2,000 and the club fee at 500, going up from $250 to 500 for the nonprofit clubs. And the package store, I guess, would go down from $2,250, which is stated here, to $2,000, which it was $1,750 when we moved it up.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I actually just think, we had the Economic Development Committee come to us, whatever it was, a few months ago, whatever it was, when this was brought up. We had the time to discuss these fees and approve these fees, so I think, now we're kind of going backwards. I think we should adopt it as is, and, and then if we want to go up on any, we can do that at the next review in a year. That's just I'm fine with all of these fees as is, and I would like the board to move forward with it as written.
Okay, so let's take a motion first to adopt the alcohol license fee schedule, number 6. Is there a motion to accept that?
moved.
By Mr. De Palma.
Second.
Is there a second by Ms. Pacelli? Any discussion on that? All in favor? Okay, so now, we have already adopted all of these, so we don't need to make a motion to adopt them again.
Correct.
If you don't want to
Right.
act upon them, then you're just going to, make a motion that we're going to maintain the fees that we currently have.
Right.
That's all. And so, it is up for a motion for that purpose.
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion then that we adopt the fee schedule as it is with the clubs at 500.
We just voted on
Well,
that.
we have a motion and a second, so.
We just voted.
And we voted, and we voted. It does like, and we voted.
I
It's like we
thought
did
this-
vote on it.
Okay, I thought this was to adopt,
But no, Frank's making a motion to
Motion
amend the fee
to amend-
schedule.
Now, after we
Right.
adopted it.
just
So
to
we
take the
voted
club
fee
out,
schedule. Now he's
to remove the
making a
club to
motion
500.
that we lower
Lower the club to
to 500.
Yeah, and again, I'm just thinking that, you know, for the clubs, it's only 2 clubs. You know, we're talking, you know, pennies on the dollar to our tax budget, and maybe we're helping the clubs out, that helps this town out.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Hearing no second, the motion fails. Okay, so we're gonna move on. Everything remains the same? Is there a motion to keep the fee schedule the same as was adopted? Let's just
Well, I think we've already done that. We've already adopted the fee schedule as
Yeah.
it is.
Okay, all right.
Now what we need to do is to have a motion to amend the regulations to remove specific fees and put a reference to the fee schedule.
Okay, because,
Stated by the town manager.
Second.
I thought that was done first.
No.
That's what I said. We're going to take a motion to adopt the alcohol license fee schedule.
Yes,
I already did that.
so we did that. So now what we're doing is we're taking a motion to amend the regulations to reference the fee schedule.
Okay.
I thought we were doing the opposite. It sounds like,
So did I, that's what I
All
thought.
right.
yeah.
So I made the motion, Jake second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. Okay.
Thank
Can we
you.
move on now?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to communications.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The first communication is a memorandum from the town manager regarding the request for information for the Bazell Senior Center. As the communication folks who have had a chance to take a look at it have seen, we put out the RFI. The idea behind the RFI was that it would be a private entity who would come in, do work on the Bazell, and then occupy it for some particular use. For the, when we had the walkthrough, there were 2 folks scheduled for the walkthrough. One was Bonnie Smith. She was allowed to go as a courtesy, even though she's at the Historic Commission and wasn't really responding to the RFI, but she'd want to see it. WCTV was scheduled to go for the walkthrough, but unfortunately, they had an emergency and weren't able to make it. So they did not make it through the walkthrough. Notwithstanding that, they did submit a response to the RFI. Their response to the RFI was a proposal to set up a community media and education center at the Bazell, operated by WCTV. Their proposal indicated that they would be using only a portion of the building for their kind of proprietary use, and would propose that other portions of the building be set up as kind of classrooms and/or training areas for public use. They did, as part of their response, state that all of the work to the building, with the exception of their internal work on their proprietary space, would be done by the town. And so that would, and any exterior work that were required to the building to bring it up to code would be done by the town. And I just put down kind of at the end of it, some of the challenges of this response, as with respect to the RFI as it was written, was there was a significant financial responsibility to the town, basically almost all, except for the movement of their equipment over from their current location and setting up studios and the such inside. Everything else would have been the responsibility of the town. Secondly, the daytime parking needs were also inconsistent with the RFI, which we noted that lot is required for daytime parking for town hall, and also needed a daytime for potential special events. And their proposal also included no financial consideration for a lease. They only proposed either an in-kind or service-based use of the building, which was not consistent with what we were asking for as part of the RFI. And so that was the kind of the last request of the board, that we put out this RFI for the Bazell, and so that was the one response that we did get. The next communication, Mr. Chair, is actually some very good news. The rec department applied for and received a Smile Mass grant for a floating beach wheelchair. So we're gonna accept delivery of down at the beach house of a wheelchair, a floating wheelchair so disabled folks can actually float out into the swimming area in a wheelchair. It's something that I want to give Brett Simon, our recreation director, along with the Disability Commission, a lot of credit for getting out and applying for it. And because it was a private grant as opposed to a state grant, we were able to get it, even though we aren't compliant with
Yeah, and Brett did mention Suzanne Clarkin
yes.
As a member of the Commission for Disabilities, who was very instrumental in getting that grant. Is that going to be something that the town keeps?
Yes.
Or is that, okay.
Yeah, so it's, Brett located a storage area for it. It does break down, so it's not.
Oh, no, that's great.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was something that was, you have to turn.
Nope, it's our wheelchair. So it's one of the ones, I don't know if folks have seen it, with the very large wheels that can get over the sand, and I think it's gonna be great for accessibility at the beach. The third communication we have is dated May 16th, 2026, from the family of Dr. Daniel T. Bazell. Wrote a letter to the board and to the members of the town staff as the descendants of Dr. Bazell. They were talking about the family members who came out and saw the building, they did not want to see the building demolished, and said wished to have the building repurposed. They wish to be kept apprised of any town decisions as our deliberations move forward. So that is and it's signed by a significant number of the members of the Bazell family. The next communication is a letter from the town clerk to Brad Jackson, advising him that he's been reappointed to the Finance Committee for a 3-year term to expire until 2029. And then we had 2 new individuals. So the next 2 are 2 individuals who are newly appointed to the Finance Committee. One was Sivakumar Malayasamy was appointed to the Finance Committee, and Dylan Semple was also appointed to the Finance Committee. Both of them are on 3-year terms to expire in 2029. So I wanted to say thank you to the members of that committee for picking multiple people out of a large pool of candidates. And congratulations to Mr. Jackson and to Mr. Semple, Mr. Malayasamy for their appointments.
Yeah, let me say that it was a difficult choice. The town moderator and the chairman of the Finance Committee and myself, we met, and I had 7 individuals applying for the 2 positions, and it was great to see so many
That's great.
people step forward for that. All very well qualified, and have some suggestions where they all want to be appointed somewhere else, so if you're interested.
Oh, absolutely. In this day and age, when it is hard to find people who are willing to volunteer, especially for something like the Finance Committee, which takes a lot of time, it's really, really reassuring to see a lot of people coming forward, and we'll find slots for them.
So I want to thank Jonathan Eaton and Marian Gillespie for their due diligence in selecting, along with myself, the new finance people. Okay, so we've completed number 6. We're on to number 7, which is a board to consider select board policies and procedures. And just let me again state for the record, a big yeoman's thanks to Mike Newhouse, who I see is here this evening, Greg Bendel and Mike Shampoo, both of whom have other commitments this evening and couldn't be here. But this was brought up once again because the committee felt a need to meet after our last discussion on the policies and procedures and to discuss what this board had suggested be done on just 2 items. It seems as if everything else was accepted other than 1.1 and 2.4.
And so folks who have their packages out, you see in each of those sections, there's a green section, which is the language that was originally proposed by the group that got together and reviewed those. And then a yellow section, which was my attempt to encapsulate what I thought we heard from the board. And I think the folks who met about it agreed that the yellow language encapsulated what we thought we heard as a kind of a response from the board as to how they wanted to see that language changed.
So it was important that we meet again. I know Mr. West had chaired me with the chairmanship of putting this together, and the other 3 members. We all felt that we should meet again to discuss the changes that some of the board members were interested in making. And the committee felt strongly that it maintain the language that it came up with, and not change to the suggested language that the select board was discussing. And let's go with 1.1.
Yes.
The annual reorganization part. Now, the thought process, and I know Mr. Newhouse is here, and please, you're more eloquent than I am and can probably convey this better than I can. But it was discussed, and I gotta tell you, this committee was outstanding, the deliberation that they had on every single item. It really was, and Mr. Slagle was a part of it as well, and I have to thank you as well for being a part of it, and the suggestions as well on this committee. So it was felt that it remain the same as it has always been, and that we don't elect a vice chair. And it was brought up about traditions, and traditions in some cases do matter. And the tradition that this board has always had is that the former chair is the first vice chairman of this board. And if that former chair can't be there, then it bumps to the next one, and so on and so forth. So it's a form of tradition that the past chair become the vice chair. And the other thought process of it, and there were three thoughts on it, is that it doesn't become a political issue. We all know that sometimes a chairman can be selected due to a political issue. We hope that that isn't part of that process. But it takes that element away when you're talking about the prior chair being the vice chair. That doesn't play into any effect in that regard. And the other one is perception. And the perception being just because if we decide to elect a vice chair, is it perceived that that vice chair become the next chairman? And that may not happen. And that may cause issues in the next year period. So I believe, is that pretty much conveyed?
Just to echo, and again, not necessarily trying to speak for everybody in that group, but I think there was a concern that having an election for vice chair would politicize it, and both on the front end and the back end, that could create complications that don't exist with the current system, where it's just the previous chair, and there's no, you made that decision already when you elect that person was elected chair before. So those are just the thought processes of the group, and trying to stay out of the, keep it out of the political realm.
Jake was first.
Jake.
No, I guess I'm just a little don't really understand the history. I know I'm new on here, but I've never seen, when you look on the website, a vice chair on the select board, and we didn't talk about it or officially have one since I've been on it, so I'm not really sure what history we're talking about, first of all.
Well, there's never been a vice chair.
That's my point. So this
listed
is,
on the website. It's
no,
always been
that's my point. So
an
there isn't a
understanding.
history of it anyway, is my point. So it's not like we're continuing a history that's been around. I just feel like that's a weird way to kind of try to play.
Well, to be fair, I think that the tradition of the board was that whatever role a vice chair has was held by the person who was the previous chair.
I'm just, we didn't have a vice chair.
But you know what
So
I mean?
it's hard
Like,
to have a history.
somebody had to step in and take over as chair if the chair is not available, and that person was, instead of an elected vice chair, was whoever was the previous chair. So that,
Or the one before that, or the one before
Well,
that,
yeah,
or
this
you're
is-
going back 10 places.
Well,
Right.
that's if
But I've made that point,
someone
yeah.
is absent, and you have to have someone run a meeting.
Sure.
right? So,
Okay, so I disagree. I had brought up last time that first of all, many select boards have vice chairs. We have many committees in this town that have vice chairs. And I think we're actually making it more of a role that, it's really just a fill-in. There's no duties for the vice chair. It's if the chair can't be there, the vice chair steps in. That's really the only, let's just say, the way it is today, if Frank couldn't be here, if Kevin couldn't be here, Frank would be it. So it's really, the role of the vice is really just filling in for the chair when the chair can't be there, right? So my point is that it could happen that Frank, I'm just going to use you as the example, because you were last chair.
Yeah.
Let's say Frank didn't get reelected. Who was chair before Gary? Let's say Gary didn't get reelected. It could have happened. No, it wasn't me. What I'm saying is,
Would be
Greg.
Mr. Bendo.
But
And then
this
it
is
would
what I'm
be you.
saying. You're going back and back and back. It just seems like we got to have, like a log sheet to go back. And I just think it makes it easier. I'm trying to fight for it, and I'm almost saying it's, in name only, but I think it's important, and I personally don't see the political part of it because it's not like a meaty role. It's not like you don't have to sit next to the chair. It's just, you're being selected so that if the chair cannot perform the duties, we know who's going to step in. That's the way I feel about it, and a lot of select boards in surrounding towns have it. And I don't see it as political, because I think if it comes across as political, then that's on us. It's no different than selecting a chair to me, I don't care if we put names in a hat and pick it that way. It doesn't matter to me how it gets chosen. I just think that somebody needs to be, vice chair. That's just the way I feel about it. I think it's a change that's needed, instead of just kind of defaulting back, because maybe some people don't want to do it too, you know what I mean? Sure. So, I'm just saying, like, if, it came to me and, I was, the next one in line to fill in, I don't want to do it, so go to the next, I don't know. I just think it cuts through a lot of red tape, and it's really just, we know who the backup is, that person knows they got to step in, and like I said, if we're worried about the way it looks politically, throw everybody that would want to do it, their name in a hat, and we'll pick a name. It's not political to me at all. It's not like you're vice president of the United States. It's just you're going to fill in, So that's just how I feel about it. I think we need I think we need to bring the board forward, and I think this is part of it. So we're the only board that doesn't have like a vice.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a tough call, but when you bring up that it looks political, the biggest political part about it is if you want to get into politics, is voting for the chair, because that's the most important position. As far as a vice chair, I don't foresee, any issue with politics being made. It's more of a, as everyone has said, and you have said, Mr. Chair, that it's only when the chair is unavailable. Now, that could also mean that there are two major meetings going on at the same time, and the chair says to Jake, we'll call him the vice chair right now, you gotta cover this for me. because I'm going to be at this. This way, the board is represented in a proper authority also. And I don't see the politics getting involved with it. How many times have I heard during my time on the board is, who's up next? Who's up next? I mean, if, it's not a way to run the board. And I commend the board for wanting to bring this up. We could have disagreements, but if we feel someone's going to be good as a chair, we'll support him 100%. I mean, Mr. Kyer and I have had many disagreements over the years, but I supported him for chair because I thought he was the right person for this time. And just as if we decide to do a vice chair, I'm gonna support the individual, and it's not political, but I'm gonna vote. It's gonna do the best for the board. I mean, when I sit here, politics aren't involved, and I don't foresee any issues with politics getting in the way at all. And I feel that it would just it would secure the board in a more comfortable fashion by saying, okay, as the chair has said, I'm not going to be in tonight. Frank's the next in line because he was the last chair. Oh, wait a minute, Frank's not going to be here. And, we're going to be running down the road with these things. So I have no qualms at all with supporting the
I just wanted to add one thing.
voting for a
On the part of that expectation that the vice chair would become the next chair, we could write that, if we were to go this way, we could write that in there, that there is no expectation that the vice chair is to become the next chair. I don't think that.
Yeah, I don't think you need that.
I'm just saying,
don't
I
need
don't
to
think
write
there's any expectation, because it still comes to a vote, and the next chair may not get elected, or may not run, or who knows, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's any expectation on that. But
Okay.
that's just how I feel about it.
Did you have something?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I don't see it, I don't see it a showstopper either way. I mean, I've been on the board for 4 years. I was on the board serving with Mr. McCoy for 3 years, many years ago, and I've been to many select board meetings over the many years, and I haven't seen, in the time that, gosh, I've been going to meetings since probably the late 80s, early 90s, and I've never seen an issue that has stumped the board as far as, oh my God, the chair's not here, what do we do? We've always had, like you said, who's, either the most current chair would just take over the meeting, or there have been times, as you're probably aware, that you, for example, may have a conflict of interest on a particular topic, and then you say, hey, I want to designate say me, for example, as the last chair to run just that agenda item, because, you may have a perceived conflict, or you may even leave the room because of a perceived conflict. So, I mean, I think we're making more out of it than not. I mean, it's, our expectation is to be at all the, at least our usual selectmen meetings, and when we're not here, it's been on TV and things like that. You've been on Zoom or whatever. Most of us have done that, so. I mean, I'm okay with tradition. I'm okay if we do a vice chair, and I don't care if it's me, for example, being the last chair, but you're probably looking at twice a year to even implement that particular person. So we probably spent more time discussing it than we would implementing it.
Okay, that it? Anybody else out there that want to say anything? Okay. All right, so why don't we take this one up? Do you want to adopt what the committee is recommending, or are we going to cross out the green and we'll adopt the board shall elect a chair and vice chair?
I'll make a motion to accept that with the changes that the select board put it, the changes in yellow.
That the board shall elect a chair and a vice chair.
The board shall
Correct.
elect a chair.
Second.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll
I'm sorry,
second
I didn't bring that.
Motion by Ms. Pacelli, seconded by Mr. Gerwas.
Discussion? So we're taking out the green.
You're taking out the green
And
part that says the
replacing it.
board shall elect a chair, subject to the acceptance, it's hard to read in green.
Sorry.
The most recent previous chair on the board shall serve as the vice chair. So that will be deleted.
Okay.
You're electing a vice chair. At the end of the day, that's all it
Okay,
is.
all in favor? Okay. So the second is 2.4, under public participation. Again, the committee met, had a lengthy discussion and deliberation over this, and really feels that public comments should be during the meeting as issues come up, and taking care of the public comments in that regard, rather than having a formal public comment, whether beginning or end, or whatever the case may be. So,
Just to reiterate kind of what the chair is mentioning, the idea of the board is that this whole section has to be read as all together and not just this one public comment section by itself, because it's really critical that the chair and the board lean into the first part, which is when we have an item that's up for discussion, we make sure that the folks have a chance to speak during that item. And that's really the critical piece of it it's not, like, I think some boards get into a position where they say, we have a public comment section, nobody needs to talk until the public comment section. And I think that's not healthy, because it regardless of where you put the public comment section, they're not going to be speaking in the moment when people are discussing and making decisions.
Right.
I think that what we were thinking was encourage that leaning into, we're talking about alcohol regulations, although that was part of but we're talking about something that doesn't necessarily is not a public hearing, where there's a required public participation. We're talking about something that there's just interest in, to have the people speak as the board is deliberating, instead of waiting till the end or having them speak in the beginning before they know kind of anything about what the board is thinking. And if you lean into that, and if we as a board say, this is where we're going to go, and make sure that the public participation happens all through, then that is when the suggestion was to remove a specific public comment section, because you're achieving the public participation as you're going along.
And it's
So,
obviously at the chair's discretion.
yes, and then that would, I mean, that's kind of the thought process behind the language that the group decided that we wanted to kind of
Yeah.
that highlight. And the change is
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
to,
So if you could just read the green and the yellow, I didn't
yeah,
bring
okay,
mine.
do you mind if I read it? So what was originally proposed was there shall not be a separate public comment period of the agenda, so that it wouldn't be on the agenda, public comment.
Right.
But you would expect that the first parts would be being honored. And based on the discussion at the board the last time, I think we agreed that there should be a separate public comment period on the agenda, but only at the discretion of the chair, so that the chair would have the right to have a public comment on the.
yeah, yes, Ms. Pacelli.
So, no, I'm fine with that. My concern, I guess, is, so I'm fine with, the chairs letting people speak throughout the meeting. I think that's good. But not having it, I torn on this, I guess, because, so, let's say we adopt it that way as written, there would not be public comments anywhere on the agenda, written as an agenda item, correct? Okay. So now, if somebody, let's say we get through communications, all new business and all that stuff, if somebody at that point wanted to say something, that would be at the discretion of the chair. Like if somebody, let's just say, somebody's here to ask, I don't know, a question about the new school, and they just want to say, hey, can you tell me, is there going to be another public hearing on the school, whatever. Will they have that opportunity at the chair's discretion to say that at some point, or just, that would be gone altogether?
Wouldn't be on the-
Wouldn't be a part of
I'm just trying to understand it, I'm not,
The idea would be that wouldn't be part of
that
the
would go
agenda.
away.
And one of the things that we were talking about was, when the idea of a public comment came up,
Yeah.
we're not dealing with the same level of technology that we have now with the internet and the availability and the websites, the availability of information to folks. And where the thought process, and my understanding is the gentleman who originally proposed the public comment section is here with us tonight, Mr. McCoy. But my understanding, not having been there, only having heard, was that the thought process was somebody could step up and say, hey, I'd like to know how to do this. I don't understand this.
I see, okay.
And right now, it's way easier to get those questions asked on your own time, by checking with town hall or emailing the manager's office or reaching out via your emails, which they're all on the website, to either get it on an agenda or to get an answer. And the kind of the flip side of that is the danger under the public comment section of things coming up and being discussed that aren't on the agenda.
Right, which is the issue.
And
right.
if we use the public comment section the way I think you have to legally use it, which is it's just a comment and not to get anything back from us.
Correct.
That's one thing. But if the public comment section is used as a back and forth where there's a discussion, then I think that's a violation of the open meeting law. Because we are having a substantive discussion about something that's not on the agenda. And that's really the risk that we run. If everybody's kind of committed to the public comment, I think the way that Greg used to do was just say, we'll take it under advisement, we'll take it under advisement, we'll take it under advisement.
Then we get slack for
Then
that.
you don't have to worry about
Yeah, yeah.
a public, violating the open meeting law. But if there is a substantive back and forth, then the open meeting law is at risk. So that's kind of the flip side of the coin to having the open public participation on things that are on the agenda.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think all comments should be related to agenda items, so, okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, again, I go back to history, but I can remember in the 90s being at select board meetings and being told by select board members, you do not have a voice here. You do not have a voice here. I'm sorry. These people have a voice here. And I'll give credit to Mr. McCoy. Back in 2003-ish, when Mr. McCoy was chair, he initiated public comments. And correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but public comments were public comments. If you wanted to talk about item number 4 in the agenda, or if you wanted to talk about the grass on the town common, you could talk about whatever it was. And again, in reference to the open meeting law, I get it that somebody at that microphone, there shouldn't be a substantive conversation. But for example, at our last meeting, we had a woman talk about light poles. And it turns out that, we had a discussion, she mentioned something, we were like, yep, I think it was, I can't remember the woman's name, but you had made a comment, something that, yep, this is the way it is. And then you found out after the fact, because she spoke, and again, there wasn't back and forth, but you went back to her at a point and said, yeah, we were wrong, and ma'am, you were correct. But sometimes, there are people that don't want to email Jake and Gary, they just they want 2 minutes, they want to just stand here and, sometimes it might be just to talk about their taxes, or sometimes it might be to give some substantive information to all of us at once, the board, the town manager, the recording secretary, maybe other audience members. So I've always been a strong advocate of public comments. And I like the fact, Mr. Chair, that you've been adding, mentioning on each agenda item, say, hey, is there anybody in the public that wants to speak on that agenda item? But there might be an item that, somebody in this room wants to talk about under public comments, and you have it here. So let's see, as an example, let's see if there are public comments on items not on the agenda at this meeting, just to kind of prove a point.
Yes.
Like data centers?
Like data centers, there you go.
Yeah, so when I read this with the yellow, mind you, I thought it was kind of basically doing what we've been doing since Kevin's been chair. Because it allows it, right? You have the public comment, even if it's the end, but obviously he's allowing people to speak, and I'm okay with that. I know there's some talk down here about eliminating public comment. I'm fine with the language in yellow, is all I want to say, which is allowing what we're doing now.
Mr. Chair, can you just read what the yellow is, just to refresh my memory what the edits were?
So the edit from the board of the previous discussions, the yellow is, there may be a separate public comment period on the agenda, but only at the discretion of the chair.
Okay. So that essentially means that the chair can, or may or may not. So, for example, if Kevin chooses to just say, you know, I'm just going to take it during, and then let's just say Jake's chair, he could choose to put it on there. Or you could choose, you know what, this is a heavy meeting, I'm going to throw it on there. It doesn't have to be one way or the other.
Yeah, I had concerns about that, to be honest, but then when I thought about it, at the end of the day, we should, if the majority wants it, you can just overrule the chairs, and you can remove them, or her. It doesn't matter. And so I was like, if three of us wanted it and the chair's saying no, we'll just remove the person.
Move the chair?
Yeah. I'm serious. I mean, if you're not happy with what they're doing, then just remove the chair. Don't elect the chair to begin
Certainly,
with.
the sentiment of the board is to have public comment, so if that remains into the policies and procedures, we would have public comments, regardless of it saying, for me, anyways, discretion of the chair. For my purposes, I would have the public comments, and I know I asked this at the last meeting, would you rather have it at the beginning or the end? I would always have it at the end. So, just so you realize that.
Okay.
Yeah, and Mr. Chair, I put it at the beginning on one agenda just as a feeler to see how that would work.
Well, I think if you weren't going to allow people to speak on items, it's better at the beginning before you vote, but now that we're allowing people to speak on things we're voting on, it's good at the
Entirely
end,
different story
because it
now.
covers whatever wasn't covered.
And I'm fine with that.
We can't preface that?
Okay. All right, so you want to adopt the yellow on this as well and exclude the green?
Yes, I'll make, you want to do it?
Yeah. I'll make that motion that we adopt the yellow so it reads, there will be a separate public comment period on the agenda, but only at the discretion of the chair.
Second. Second.
It was motion by Mr. West, seconded by Mr. Girwa. Any further
Discussion?
discussion? Yes.
So the yellow is in addition to the green, correct?
No.
No.
The green goes
No,
away.
replacing
Because
the
green
green.
says no, there's no public comment.
Yeah.
Okay,
Getting rid of
but
the green.
But we'll still,
you'll still
we'll
take
still,
comments.
yeah, because the rest of the,
Oh, because you said that, okay.
The rest
Just
of
wanted to
the-
make
It's
sure.
above the green, that's the
Okay,
important part
good,
about
good, good,
allowing.
the rest of the
Okay.
public participation allows
Got
me
it.
to do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good.
Encourages even.
Encourages.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't bring my sheet from last week, but
All in favor?
I did read it.
Okay, voted. So let's take an overall adoption with the amended.
I do have a couple of other
Language.
questions if you
Okay,
can,
sure.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
On section 6, legal matters and town council, it says access to town council. It says that the town manager is the primary point of contact with the town council. Board members may request legal opinions, but only through the town manager. And outside of 286A questions, all communications to town council must be vetted through the town manager. I mean, you gotta remember, the town council is our appointment, not the town manager's appointment, and I don't think that we've abused I think probably each one of us have probably called town council on our own, just because it's like, hey, I got an issue, I just wanna get a quick feel.
I'll say I've never done that without asking town manager.
Me either.
Be it Jeff or Eric, that, is it okay for me to reach out to Mark or whoever? I've always asked.
Myself as well.
That's always
Same.
been, since I've been on the board, that's always been, is it okay? Hey, I got an issue, are you okay if I, reach out? So,
Either that, I've always asked, the town manager has actually suggested on a 268A, hey, Kevin, why don't you call town
Right,
council
right.
regarding this? So
Okay.
I've never just automatically
No.
called town council, well, why run up the bill?
yeah, no, I think it
And
needs.
the thought process in this is really more about the breach, where there's a board member that abuses it,
Yeah.
without saying it in the,
Right, and.
because if you allow it in the policies and procedures, then there's no way that, to kind of rein it in if somebody's abusing that and racking up, like I said, like somebody mentioned, thousands of dollars of
And I think you
town
could have
council
multiple
time.
board members reaching out for the same issue, you know what I mean? And,
I think they should all be presented to
yeah, through the town
the
manager.
town, just notifying the town manager that you will be contacting the legal counsel over this issue here. Now, Saying that, the town manager might respond to you saying, this is our policy we have to follow under rules and regulations, so you don't have to make the phone call to the legal counsel. You can discuss it with the town manager, and if you're not satisfied with what the town manager say, then you always do have the right to contact the legal counsel. But it's, we have to look at dollars and cents also.
Yeah.
And these are, when we're discussing anything legally, I think it's wise that we discuss it with the town manager. And again, if we're not satisfied with his or her answer, then you always have the alternative to contact the legal counsel.
And I mean, the other thing that's I think is really important to note is that oftentimes you are all reached out to by people in the public at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I'm often in the same day getting communications from multiple council members about the same issue. So if that comes up in a legal fashion, I've often already reached out to town council and I'm already kind of pursuing that.
Yeah, just one thing to add, like when I was first coming up with the original straw man, this is how every town had it. It had to go through the town manager, town administrator, whatever. Like very standard.
It is very standard.
It is.
Any other comments? Any comments from the public on this?
One last thing,
Yes.
Mr. Chair, is under minutes, we talked basically about open executive session minutes as far as having them presented so that we can approve them. But under the executive session, are we approving them to form? Are we approving them to release? And also, should we create a review period where at some point our executive session minutes should be released to the public? I mean, it might be 5, 10, 15 years before, but do we have an avenue that we can create and check back and say, look, this was an old lawsuit that got settled 3 years ago. It's been adjudicated, and we held these minutes because there might be an appeal or whatever, but the issue's done, settled, and we want to release them. There should be some sort of a process for that.
Yeah, I think when we're thinking about the policies and procedures, I think one of the windows that we were looking at through is this is a kind of a handbook that you hand to a new member of the board who hasn't participated in this sort of before, and we didn't want to get in any particular place, as I think Jake can tell you, some of these are 200-page long policies and procedures. So we were trying to stay out of the weeds and keep this a very high level, so that's kind of why we didn't get into the depth about things like executive.
Because I'm just thinking, like I said, for example, we talked about Sharapa Farm. Well, all the minutes for Sharapa Farm, the event's over, we own the property, any minutes should be public meeting. Any of the executive session minutes, for example, that solely deal with Sharapa, theoretically should be accepted and made public.
As long as there are no other issues.
No, they're
on
identified.
the
Right.
minutes
Right.
that-
Agreed.
that kind.
Yeah.
And we've always done that, and we've always went back to it based upon the information.
Yeah.
Someone keeps a file and records of it, so
Yeah.
that, so it's gonna come up a second or third or fourth time, and we've always.
But maybe I think what you're thinking on is maybe we put something on the calendar where we say, hey, it's
time.
we need to look at whether there's,
Once a quarter or
once a year, I'm thinking, just say like, hey, is there anything that we haven't cleaned up?
Yeah.
And we do that with town council. Usually once a year, once we have the election and a reorg, we meet with town council once a year to review all the legal issues. Might be a good time to add that.
To add that as part of the executive session. So I
Which,
think
by the way, we haven't done yet.
we haven't done yet, so that needs to
I'm just looking to say that we don't have a backup of executive session minutes that are just hanging in the wind, so to speak.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, good point. Okay. Anything else? Okay, so let's take a motion to adopt the policies and procedures as amended, and then we'll move on.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. De Palma, seconded by Ms. Maselli. Any other discussion? All in favor? Thank you, and I want to once again thank the committee for their work. their time, commitment, effort, and also want to thank Jake for putting this forward to us and getting this prepared.
Yeah, I think it's really, I think the process worked out really awesome, and I appreciate Mike for being here the nights that it's been up, and also Mr. Shampoo and Mr. Bendel for their participation. It was really, everybody had lots of great input, and it was really, really an awesome process.
Thank you. All right, board to consider.
Yes, board to consider number 8, Mr. Chair. Board to consider signing an intermunicipal agreement for the regional housing service offices. This is a renewal of an existing regional agreement. We have a regional housing services office that's operated out of, I believe, the town of Reading. We contract through the Barrett Planning Group to provide a housing consultant. So this has been something that's Val Gingrich, our Director of Planning and Conservation, provided a memorandum regarding this agreement. It's been very successful, and it's something that we want to continue doing. So this would just be the authorization to continue on with this process.
And this is for 1 year.
It was multiple years.
I think it's for, yeah, it's at the term, oh yeah, this is just for 1 year, but it has up to additional 6 3-year extensions, but we'd have to vote on those extensions as a municipality.
As they come up.
As they come up.
Yes.
That's what it was, got it.
They're not automatic.
That's why I wanted to make sure that it's not an automatic.
Correct.
In the past, this agreement has always come forward to us, and in past years, Wilmington always seemed to have taken the brunt of the payment on this, and also never had the services of this particular organization come to Wilmington. We brought that up, or I brought that up as an issue, and now they supposedly are holding office hours at Town Hall. Are they still doing that, is my question.
Yes.
Okay. And it also indicates that we have one member on the advisory committee. Is that Valerie, or is that someone else?
That's
that's
Val.
appointed? Okay. And then the other thing that bothered me with this particular is Exhibit B. Every year that we've gotten this, or every 3 years, or 2 years, I believe it was a 2-year contract, now they want to extend this out 1 year and then go to incremental increases. They used to give us a breakdown of each community's cost of operating in the percentage each community paid. And every year, Wilmington was the #1 community that paid the most and had the most percentage. For some reason or other, I don't see it. It's blank on my page. So I just was curious why that cost structure was left out with this, maybe because it's just an increase of 1 year, and then we're going to be voting back again, and instead of going in 2-year increments, they're going to go in 3-year increments.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's probably great, and I looked at everything, and for 11 years, I've been supportive of it, but for 11 years, you know, I've asked for certain things, and like getting someone here to be here for the residents rather than being in Reading or North Reading at the time it was, and they did so, and then getting what we're paying. But now that's not even there. So I don't even know what we're voting on. What's the fee for the year?
Yeah, no, up to 15,000, right? Doesn't even have a number.
I don't know what that.
Do we know, Eric, do you know what we paid last year?
Last year, I believe it was 10,000. And I don't know if they've done the calculation
Of our share.
of our share for this, for the upcoming year, but I can certainly find that out and let the board know.
I mean, I'm sure that the board, is gonna be supportive of it. It's they do a lot of good work, and you see under Exhibit A, the amount of work that is done.
I'd be willing to
And
bet.
as long as they're here, though, for our residents to help, and that they don't have to go to Reading.
I'd be willing to bet that if we were the highest the last time you looked, we're probably gonna be the highest again the next time we get a fee schedule. But I'll find it out and let everybody know.
And it might be a good idea to say, well, why are we number one? Why are we paying the lion's share? If we should be paying an equal share, maybe we might be able to save a couple of $1,000s.
I mean, we're not the largest community, right? Because you have Woburn in here,
Right.
you have Saugus in here.
Yeah.
Wakefield, I think, is larger than us. That's adding in.
I think it'd come down to how many units you have.
Yeah,
That's the other, yeah.
Right, how
how many
Good
units
point.
go into
Good
that?
point.
Yeah, I think it's a unit count.
I would
But I
do it
drive
that way.
down
I would do it that
96.
way. Guess there's no affordable units in there.
Okay.
Okay.
So do you want to table this to next meeting? Or do you want to, what is your wish? It did say that all the other communities have already adopted it, right? So we're the last ones to, and it needs to be done before July 1st.
Correct.
It's a fiscal year
Yes.
issue.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to accept it, but on the same token, if we could get some information for the next iteration, which is going to be, like you said, a 3-year deal, and find out what the fee structure is, and more importantly, maybe have them come in here and say, what are you doing for your money?
They have been in here before. I do
Yeah.
have to say that.
Yeah, we could get a-
Valerie's been here, and this particular group has been in here.
We could get a Wilmington-specific report.
That's what I'm
along
saying,
with the
yeah.
fees to provide to the board.
I mean, I don't think it's going to change for this report, up
No,
to the
yeah.
$15,000, so.
Yeah.
But I'll make the motion that we accept
To
it.
accept.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Mr. West to accept, and seconded by Ms. Maselli. Any other further discussion, and with the caveat that we'll get some
Yeah.
fee information?
Yes.
And then with the understanding that maybe they can come in and give a presentation at some point in time.
Okay.
All those, any discussion? All those in favor? And it's unanimous.
Mr. Chair, the next board to consider is a board to consider signing town council's contract for the fiscal year 2027. This is the contract for council services with KP Law. There are, the changes are the fees for, the hourly rates for attorneys and paralegals, each went up by $10 per hour. The rates for all the special legal services rates went up by $10 per hour. Our cap went down by $10,000. So we were at $295 last year, we're down to $285.
We're not talking to them, that's why.
And just for sake of it, we think 26 is going to come in well below the cap, right?
Yes, right now we are right around $115,000. And so we've got 2 bills left. That's 10 bills in, so 2 bills left, so we should be around 130, 140. Yeah, so we historically have operated significantly below the cap, and not to toot my own horn, but the last couple of years we've been well below the cap. Helps having an attorney.
I was gonna say, it's because we have an attorney. Okay, is there a motion to sign the contract?
So moved.
By Mr. De Palma.
Second.
Second by Mr. Gerwa.
I have some-
Any further discussion?
I have discussion. And again, maybe, it may not be appropriate here, maybe under new business, but can we start getting copies of the invoices so that we know what we're being billed for?
Sure. Yeah, we get invoices emailed to us every month. We can certainly provide this to the board.
Yes, this way here, we kind of get an idea of what's coming, what's going on now, and if there's something coming up that we can see by the, not just by the town manager, who does a great job and chair, but also, just, you see the bill and you say, oh, wait a minute, it looks like we got something coming up here that we might want to just mentally prep for.
Not a problem.
Any other comments? Anybody? I forgot to ask on the last one, sorry about that. Okay, all those in favor? Thank you, unanimous.
The next board to consider is, board to consider a request of Neil Hutchinson for residents of Moore Street to have a neighborhood block party on July 2nd, 2026, from approximately 3 o'clock PM to 7 o'clock PM.
Is
So move to
Mr.
accept.
Hutchinson here? No? Okay. So there's a motion to accept from Mr. De Palma. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Girwa. Any discussion?
I think you've got fire and police gave their positive recommendations.
Yep. It's like it was no problems last year.
Yep, we got recommendations from the police and fire. No issues? Yep. It's even highlighted on that. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Is that?
And
Frank.
unanimous?
I'm sorry.
Unanimous. Okay.
Next board to consider, Mr. Chair, board to consider the request from Jeff Cohen, Wilmington, a Republican Town Committee Chair, to use the town common and gazebo on Saturday, September 12th, 2026.
Okay. Mr. Cohen here, would you like to speak? Okay. Is there a motion to accept his request to use the town common? Assuming that there's nothing scheduled, I wouldn't think that this would come before us if there was something
We
scheduled.
cut that off at the pass.
Yeah, and to Mr. West Point, I believe that there are approvals in here from the various,
Yes, no comments for DPW and
Might
no
need a-
issues from the police.
They might need a police officer depending.
and he was gonna reach out, the chief is gonna reach out to Cohen about that, and the expense would be on
Well, the entity, yes.
on the.
Yep.
Okay, is there a motion
So moved?
by Mr. West, is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Girwan. Any other discussion? Okay, all in favor? And that's unanimous.
And that's the end of our boards to consider, Mr. Chair.
On to public comments. Are there any public comments?
Good evening, Rob Fisulo, 28 Marjorie Road. I'm just going to echo one of my comments that I made a few meetings ago, the Bazell. $615,000 was allocated to the renovation of that through town meeting. That was there, and I'm going to speak for 1/3 of the petitioners of that town meeting, to level the playing field. We've got two entities that really want that building. Historical Commission, which is an arm of the town, and we have WCTV, who, the service that they provide to us is priceless. They both want that building. People authorize that money, and it should be spent to bring that up to at least a level field for that. Now, I stood up in that town meeting and I said if we needed more money, that we would go back to town meeting, and I'll stand by that. But please just use the money for what it was voted for at town meeting. Second thing I'm going to bring up is, and I'm sorry it's not on the agenda, but the data centers, that can't die. All indications are that the proverbial field is being set for one here in town. Now, whether or not that's the case, none of us out here on this side of the mic know. But I'm going to ask you guys to call a special town meeting and get either a permanent or a temporary ban on data centers. If it's a temporary ban, just long enough that we can do the proper language in the bylaws to permanently ban them. But to sit on our hands on this is not going to do the residents any good. Like I said, the field is being set. We're increasing our capacity to pull MWRA water by 2 million gallons. That's a lot of gallons. The Reading Municipal Light has their new substation. That's going to increase the ability to provide power to any entities that need it. And I believe that it was said between 20 and 40,000 extra homes. Wilmington doesn't have that. So why do we need that much capacity? The field is being set. We see it on this end. May or may not have something in front of you. I don't know, and I'm not asking you guys for answers. Call that special town meeting. Call it sooner than later. There is a desire by the public to do it. We spoke after the last meeting, and you said how you do it. And I went to the public, and I asked. And I did not get one person who said that they would not be, that they would be opposed to a special for that. It's $6,000 or $7,000 that would be well used. And I think everybody sitting at this table knows how that vote would come out. So please do your jobs as selectmen, select board, I'm sorry, and call a special, and let's get this done. Thanks.
Good evening, Paul Shellifer, 48 Hopkins Street. Second, third of the petition is for the Bazell School. And I would like to reiterate what Mr. Fasulo said. Please move forward. The money has been authorized, $615,000. The voters know what it's for. They agreed that it should be spent for the purposes outlined in the warrant article. There really should be no reason why that hasn't been moving forward yet. Obviously, the RFI, that was a problem. They know the town has money, and the town is authorized, the voters have authorized a certain amount of money to be put into the Bazell to bring it up to the code compliance. So please just move forward with that. It's been 6 months since the meeting was held. The money is there in the free cash. Let's just go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Joe Maselli, 25 North Street. Going to bounce around once again here. Real quick, going back to the new charter for the select board, I was just a little confused during the conversation. What is, I guess, the new policy on public comment that was adopted tonight? Not having the sheet with the yellow and the green and all the colors. Just curious what it is.
Yeah, so during the meeting, I'm going to entertain if anybody has something that they want to say on that particular item on the agenda. And then after the board to consider portion of the agenda, we'll have public comments.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we're doing both.
Just like
For the best of both worlds.
No, of course. I mean, I think it should be a living document. You know, I think part of the issue we've had here in town the last 10, 20 years is that we haven't updated several things, such as not even having a select board charter or not looking at our rules and regulations for the alcohol for over 50 years. So, you know, it's not a bad thing to change it as the board evolves, there's a new chair, et cetera. This is not the first time I'm talking about Reading, but if you look at their select board, for example, I think they do a great model of public comment. They do it at the start of their meeting. It's a 2-minute public comment, whether it's about what's happening on the meeting, if there's a yard sale, whatever's happening in town, and then they move on with their evening. And then residents have the chance, or non-residents for that matter, have a chance to talk about whatever issue comes up during the meeting. So it seems like we're almost adopting that model. That's my suggestion to this board, but I think it should be a living document and it should be able to evolve as the board evolves as well. The second thing I wanted to bring up were the data centers. I've been following that conversation from public comment and also conversations on this board, and I saw Mr. Slagle's memo to the Economic Development Committee last meeting, and we are moving swiftly on that. I've been talking to one of the members. We've actually already come up with a draft zoning bylaw, and we're going to be talking about it at our meeting next week as well. It will be on our agenda, so I invite all residents to reach out or attend our meetings, because not many people attend our meetings and we just love to have more people there in general. But we'll definitely be talking about that. I've already had a conversation with our Director of Planning and Conservation, Valerie, so it's something we're talking about, and as a resident, just speaking for myself, it's something I would like us to see move on rather quickly as well. I share the similar concerns as Mr. Fasula mentioned as well. But did want to share the Economic Development Committee will be talking about it next week, and I invite this board and anyone else watching at home, the many, many people watching at home, not many people, to come to our meeting. We love to hear what people have to say so we can work as a town to make sure we can get in the zoning bylaw what we want to see. Thank you.
Hi there, Candace Jenkins, 8 Drury Lane. This wasn't anything that was brought up here, but I just wasn't sure if anybody had any updates or could direct me where the appropriate place would be to go for the noise coming from the top of the building. It is excessively loud, sitting in my backyard every day. It is so much louder. I mean, I've downloaded that like decibel app, gone to the back line of my property. There's times when it's above 70. And to go from a dull, quiet neighborhood to now, constant pumping noise from the HVAC system on the top of this roof. I think there were some rumblings about potentially trying to get the project people or whatever putting things, noise barriers up there. I wasn't sure if anybody had an update or any direction on where to go for that.
You can reach out to my office and I can provide you an update directly.
Okay.
The project folks are well aware of it and they're working on multiple different fronts.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Hi, my name is George Papagiorgio. I'm a student at Wilmington High School. For my civics project, I am trying to get more youth involvement on local government, more specifically on the select board here today. Overall, I would just like to ask, what is the attainability of having this, and what avenues would I need to go to achieve this?
So I think we spoke, right, at Rotary Park, where you wanted to have a sort of a representative from the high school be a part of the board. Is that?
Or a group of people. Northridge and Lexington have had a group of kids, about 5 exactly, that would come to all the meetings and just try and go hand in hand with leadership with youth, sort of an involvement.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that would really work out. You're more than welcome and invited to our meetings, as you are here now, and you can speak on various topics as the public, as you are part of the public, can do as well. I guess we'd have to talk more as to what your idea is, what you're looking to do, to see if it can be incorporated. Anybody?
No, I know that other municipalities have done something like that, a non-voting kind of seat where you have.
I think the school committee has a student that attends the school committee meetings and gives a report on behalf of the students. Is that something that you are suggesting?
It's more of so there's a representative on the school committee. Ultimately, it's more of a matter of advising people. So ultimately, the youth aren't really represented as much. We are non-voting in general. Group below 18, we're not allowed to vote. On the facility master plan, I looked, and there's a poll of all of these different things pertaining to the school, town facilities, all of this stuff. And in the poll, it specifically states that nobody under the age of 18 was surveyed, which I think we could get our voices heard a little better if we, through official avenues, have access to the leaders of the town in general.
Okay. All right. Anybody want to help me with this?
I'll say, well, if Mr. Slagle, if you've seen this done in other towns, perhaps we can get kind of like a format of what other towns do, just to to see what we can do and see if it's a representative type of thing, or, you know, how, I mean, I think it's great to have youth involved, obviously, and I think, you know, it's, you know, especially in the high school grades, you know, it'd be interesting to see, you know, get them more involved and see what their opinions are about, you know, things they're probably not thinking about, like, you know, Strapa Farms and, you know, other things that are going on around town.
We have kids coming in here, Eagle Scouts all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time, and,
Yeah.
you know, making projects and coming to us and making presentations.
But if we could have like a
It's great to have the
liaison
youth,
type
yeah.
of thing, it wouldn't be, you know, like a liaison type of,
What's interesting is, well, probably about 4 years ago, I spoke in front of a group from the high school. And the questions they were asking, they were saying, you guys probably don't have any say in this, but you have to have a voice. And today, I think there's more for you to be concerned with because of what's happening in the community. Just a quick example, I don't know what your age group thinks of the e-bikes. Everyone's complaining about the e-bikes. Well, let's hear from you. You know, there's discussions that you can bring up, your concerns. You may not be of voting age yet, but we better damn well listen. And, you know, understand where you're coming from, and you understanding where we're coming from. That we can sit here as a board and listen to you and say, you're right, let's vote on it. And it means nothing because we have laws that we have to follow. We just can't indiscriminately vote on something in the pros or cons. But if you start getting involved with it more and want discussions, we can have discussions with you, and you can contact any one of us at any time. And I don't see anybody here that wouldn't want to sit down with you and talk to you, see where you're coming from, see where your group's coming from. So don't be discouraged with the process, because the process stinks. But encourage yourself to see issues and bring them up in your group, and then bring them to us. Simple as that.
And again, you have that right of participation like you're doing now, right? And e-bikes, again, I believe Mr. West brought that up. We need to have Chief Pupa come in and give us a discussion on that.
Yes.
And you can bring up issues. We had a former selectman, Mr. McCoy, brought up a great issue about licensing. So we're going to take that up as soon as we can to, you know, and try to make a change there. We've had the data center was brought up, and we're all concerned about that. And the town manager looked into that. And now we're moving forward with the Economic Development Committee and the Planning Board to try to see how we can address that issue. So the more participation, the better it is. And I guess we're just going to have to see, try to figure out what type of participation you're talking about. I mean, do you want to sit there all evening? I don't know. Or do you want to give us some feedback or some messaging as to what you want to come on the agenda, and we can see if we can accommodate you, you know?
If it pleases the board, I could ask for this gentleman's email address to Bev, and come back with a memo about some other towns and how
Yeah.
they've done it and what his thought process is.
yeah, that'd be great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Try and figure out.
Well, the board can take it up at a future meeting.
And again, thank you for coming here.
Yes.
And I know we had this discussion at Rotary, so thank you for being here.
So would you like me to, like, reach out?
Yeah,
tomorrow
well,
or something like
actually, I could reach out to you if you want to give Bev your email address.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's
Anyone else? Okay. On to announcements. Are there any announcements that need to be made? Seeing none. On to new business. Is there any new business?
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
A couple of quick things. One, if we could have the chief come in or somebody representative from the police regarding e-bikes, because I don't know about you guys, but it's the season and we're seeing them all over the place, and everyone should know the rules of the road as far as what's happening. And I know there's some state legislation coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's gonna, probably license them, but it'd be nice if, somebody from the police could give us an update on what that process is even. Because I just don't, like all of us, nobody wants to see somebody get hurt.
I'll reach out to the chief.
I feel like they were waiting to see which law got put in,
Yeah.
Yeah,
if it's the governor's or not.
And the other thing is that I was kind of, you read through social media and you some things you kind of try to think out of the box a little bit. And I know where we allocated money for the Roman house, to have it demolished at a rough cost of $200,000. Is there a thought pattern? And again, I don't know if it's even feasible that, do we have a piece of town-owned land, a small piece that we could move the Roman house to and sell it as an affordable house? I'm just saying, I'm not saying, we're not responsible for the repairs or anything like that. We just, hey, look, we'll put it on this property, it's there, and we want to sell it.
Mr. Chair, so just for your information, that is one of the invitation for bids that we're sending out at the request of the Historic Commission. We're doing one about somebody coming in and just taking it away, and one invitation for bid for a contractor to move it to a town-owned piece of town-owned property.
Okay, no, that's great.
So.
Yeah, because the thing is that if we're going to spend, and again, I think the figure's 200,000. And again, I understand that that's also, some of that is restoration of the land, but it'd be nice to, people, I think the people that want to save the building would be happy because the building's now been saved and it's being used, and if we could, make an affordable house out of it, why not? It adds to our roles and it's...
So I've been working with the Historic Commission since the town meeting on this, so we haven't done the invitation for bids yet. It's certainly with KP.
Okay.
But that will be going out at some
No, I
point.
think that's great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Any other new business? Okay, seeing none, important dates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Important dates. So through October 4th, we have the Farmers Market on the Town Common Sundays from 10 to 1. I was at the opening this Sunday. It was a beautiful day. There was tons of folks out, and the Wilmington High School Band came and played. They had live music. It's really a great thing to visit on your Sunday morning. Just June 11th, we have Shawshene Tech graduation. June 10th, we have brush drop off at Old Main Street from 8 to 2. June 13th, we have a town-wide yard sale from 8 to 2. Also on June 13th, we have brush drop off at Old Main Street from 9 to 4. Also on June 13th, we have the town beach open for the season. It'll be from 10 to 6. And then also on June 13th, we have a flag retirement ceremony at the Minuteman headquarters at 1:30 p.m. A reminder that not this coming Friday, but next Friday is June 19th. It's Juneteenth. So town offices will be closed next Friday. And then June 22nd, we have a select board meeting here at Town Hall at 7:00 p.m. June 24th, the 4th of July festivities begin. Fun on the 4th here at Town Common. June 27th is Family Day here on the Common. June 28th are the spectacular fireworks. And then July 3rd, we celebrate our July 4th holiday. So on July 3rd, Friday, July 3rd, Town Hall will be closed. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Just to keep everything even, a big shout out to the Shawshene Tech seniors that are graduating. I know I said that to the Wilmington seniors last meeting, but congratulations, Shawshene Tech.
Shawshene Tech didn't ask me to come and speak. I
Oh,
don't know.
no?
Oh, I did wrong.
Okay, salute to service is going out to James Michael Shine. Airman James Michael Shine, U.S. Air Force, born May 1947 in Lowell, Massachusetts, joined the USAF in September of 1967 from Boston, Massachusetts. Served with the 825th Supply Squadron at Little Rock, AFB. Separated from service in August of 1968. Was awarded the National Defense Service Medal. Is a member of the American Legion Post 136 in Wilmington, Mass. And also is a Legion rider, which has helped in many events in and out of the town of Wilmington. Currently, still resides in Wilmington with his spouse, Carolyn, and we'd like to give a shout out to James for his service. Thank you. And with that, having no more business that I see, we'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
By Mr. West, seconded by Mr. De Palma. Any discussion? All in favor? And we're adjourned. Thank you. Good night.